Hi, this is Steph with Belladonna Dyes, and today we're going to be making a single color ice dye in the color of light red, and this will be going into the playlist of Dharma's dye swatches, so make sure you check out that playlist. It's a lot of really helpful information. I like to try to smooth out all the wrinkles, and then I decide where I want the center of the spiral to be, and I give it a little pinch. And for this one, I'm using the microwave splatter guard and a modified fork. And all that is a little inexpensive dollar store fork with two of the outer tines bent backwards. I know a lot of you don't have hemostats yet, so this is another alternative. So give the fork a couple of twists, and then with your opposite hand, create the pleats and create the spiral. You don't want to put a lot of tension on the center where the fork is. You could tear a hole in your shirt. Then you just want to keep going around and around until you can't go any farther with the splatter guard and gently wiggle the fork out. And now for this project, I'm securing it with my favorite rubber bands, and I have found another company that sells them. They do them in single colors. They're exactly the same. I'm not sure if I put a link down below yet or not. I'll have to look into it, but I will link them. They work just as good and they have fun colors. They're a little more neon. That's the only difference that I can tell. So. Now what I'm doing is I'm just tightening up the spiral. That is the only downfall of the microwave splatter guard is it doesn't create an overly tight spiral. The center is nice, but the edges are really loose. So I'm just going around pulling on all of the loose tails and tucking them into the nearest rubber band. And I'll go around and around doing this until I just can't make it any tighter. And I'll tell you, some shirts just, give me the business. This was one of those. It just did not want to cooperate. It took me forever, so I've sped this up just to save on time. It might have been a little bit drier or something, like it was sitting in the panda spin dryer and got extra dry. I don't remember, but just watching it back, it was really painful. So now it's time for the fun part. We get to add the dye. And this particular spiral is going to be a 2-line spiral. So I'm just going to make 2 pieces of the pie, and I'm going to have the dye intersect through the center of the spiral. Also, I have this project on an incline. So my closet made rack, it has that little lip on it. So that's like latched over top of the tote. And then down at the bottom of the incline, I have it propped up with an empty dye jar. I think it's an empty dye jar. I don't remember. That was the last shirt. But it's a very, very slight incline, just to help the dye move a little bit. Next, I give the dye areas a quick little sprinkle of soda ash for good measure, and then I add my ice. And I start by adding it to the white areas first. That way, if it knocks any of the dye loose, it's not going to go into the white area. At least that's my theory. And then it's recommended that you batch your project for at least 24 hours at 70 degrees or higher. This shirt batched for the full 48 hours and then ended up sitting for like 3 more days, and now it's completely bone dry. But that's okay, because after 48 hours, the soda ash and the procion dye are no longer having a chemical reaction. So during the first 48 hours, you really want to make sure your project doesn't dry out, but then after that, well, it's just a little bit harder to rinse. So you want to start by using cold water. That's going to rinse away any soda ash that might still be reacting within the fabric. In this case, it's not, but you still go through the motions. And then increase your water up to hot and rinse until the water runs clear. From here, I take it to the washing machine, and I do however many hot water cycles it takes using Kirillon, a professional textile detergent that I get from Dharma Trading Company. It's usually about 2 hot water cycles. And then I do a final or a third hot water cycle using Millsoft, which is a professional fabric softener that I also get from Dharma. And I do have links down below in the description box to make it easy for you to find, along with everything else that I use for tie-dye, so make sure you check that out. And then I'll put it in the dryer and I'll iron it, and we'll come back and we'll see the results. Well, here it is, guys. Here's our single color ice dye in the shade of light red after it's been washed and dried and ironed. And I just want to clarify one thing. The reason why I iron my shirts is because it makes them look better for photographing. It has nothing to do with the dyeing process. I do recommend that you iron your stuff though before you share it in the Facebook group because it's going to make it look a lot better. So overall, I think the shirt turned out really pretty. I do have a takeaway for me, like my learning experience from this shirt is a little goes a long way with light red. It is a powerful color. It seriously packs a punch. And I would have liked to have seen a little more white on this shirt to showcase the pleats. Because it's like almost oversaturated. As far as the color goes, it's beautiful. It does not split. So where you're seeing those light pink edges, that's just because it's diluted from the ice melting and then that slight incline creates some streaks. But there are no secondary colors in here. It reminds me a lot of fuchsia red. I think they're very similar and they possibly could be interchangeable, like deciding upon which color you prefer. There's just not a whole heck of a lot to say about, this color. I could critique the shirt all day, but, we're here to see what the color does during ice dyeing. And I can say, if you're looking for a color that does not split, this is one of them. It's really pretty. I could see this with some purples and some blues. I think it would be absolutely beautiful. Now right here is the liquid swatch against the ice dye. That way you're able to see what both are capable of, and they're very similar. So, that's one good thing. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, leave a thumbs up, and click the bell and set it to all. That way you get notified of future uploads. And remember, have fun tie-dyeing.